afternoon, good evening. This is JH. Y'all already know. Doing a little bit of driving, got to take a little journey, go from one plant to the other. And so I figured that while I was driving, I'd give you guys some information. Again, listen to the words, pay attention to the man. But first, y'all already know. Alright, so what we talking about today? Well, today we're going to talk about money. We're going to talk about wages. It's going to be a whole smorgasbord. So if you guys don't have the time to listen through to get the full effect and the full point of this video, stop, save it to your watch later list, and then listen to it while you're taking a shower, while you're cooking, while you're out there mowing your lawn. Put your earphones on, whatever it is you're doing. But this is going to have a little more detail than I usually get into. But I had a conversation today, and I was talking to a couple people, and it had a lot to do with the economy, the country as a whole, wages, and money. I speak this simply because my younger generation are the ones that are coming onto the post office, and 9 times out of 10, they don't spend money very well. So let's first get back to the base of my conversation. The conversation is about wages. Wages, wages, wages. Why is it important when you select a job that you find a job that has constant or frequent pay raises, or frequent or constant opportunity to make more money? Why is that important? Let's first think about what I just said. We can look at different jobs that are similar to the United States Postal Service and look at the time frames that they may or may not have their wage increases. There's a lot of things that people may say about the post office, but the one thing that they don't say is that, man, their pay sucks. I think that anybody that works there, or anybody that has worked there, can agree that our pay usually supersedes damn near every other job. So let's take a couple other jobs, for example. So you start working at Walmart. How frequent do they get their pay raises? Pay raises maybe once a year, maybe twice a year. What is the actual dollar amount of their pay raises? How much do you get? How many do you get? And how frequently are your pay raises? One thing is for certain, is if you apply that same concept to all the other, average everyday jobs, you can, and we can all agree that pay raises are not something that is commonly spoke about amongst other jobs. When you make a career decision, you want to make a career decision that bases your, if you're going to be sticking with it in the long run, you're going to want to know that in 5 years, you're not going to be at the same place you were when you started. So if you start out at $15 an hour at one job, you're like, oh man, this is great. But in 5 years, you only made it up to $16 an hour, or $16.50, or $17, maybe $2 in 5 years. That's not a lot. Why is that not a lot? Even though you may have frequent pay raises and very little overtime. Why is it not a lot? Let me tell you. Because of the word inflation. Inflation. Now, I'm not here to give an economy lesson or lesson on how to make money and what's going on. But inflation, a lot of people think, oh, that's because it's the price of everything that goes up. It's part of it. Inflation has to do with the reasoning. The reason that the prices go up. The reason that the prices go up is because the demand for certain items goes up, and the actual production of that item cannot meet the needs, supply and demand. Didn't lose you, did I? Supply and demand. So if the demand is high for a specific item, but the supply is not there, the price of the item goes up. But once people fill the supply that meets the demand, prices go back down. That's the key basis for inflation. Why do I say that? Because inflation affects you every day of your life. If you start, let's say you're renting a property, and your rent is $1,000 a month, we're using base figures, and then you start moving up, and you know your rent always goes up every year, goes up to $1,025, $1,050, whatever it is. If your career does not meet the needs of inflation, other people are going to continue to raise the rent because of the inflation throughout the country. Taxes, everything. If your pockets don't meet that demand, you become stagnant. Seems like you can never make ends meet. And that should never be the issue when you're working for a job. A lot of people say, hey, I work for a job that I love. I love the job, but they are not meeting the demand that their home is needing. You're not supplying what you need for a home. You understand? So, I hope I didn't confuse you. But what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to thank our unions. Our unions that work for the post office, that serve us at the post office. You know why? Because not only do they negotiate our frequent pay raises and continue to negotiate our frequent pay raises, they've also negotiated these contracts that have COLAs, cost of living. So your pay adjusts to the cost of living. A lot of regular jobs, a lot of jobs do not have that cost of living adjustments. So when the cost of living, my living, goes up, but my pay stays the same, I'm no longer ahead. Didn't lose anybody yet, I hope. Why am I talking about all of this? Because somebody said, hey, what is it that keeps you there at the post office? Number one, it's probably one of the easiest jobs I've ever had. And the money, on top of the type of work that I do, yeah, that works out in favor for everybody. You get your average warehouse job, 15 bucks an hour, 16, maybe 17. If you're lucky, you might get an $18 an hour job if you're doing some forklift training or whatever. But does your pay rates go up? You can look at somebody that started as a mail processor 2 years ago, and look at what they make today. Look at how they adjust your pay after you work from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. The union negotiated that nighttime differential. The union negotiated the overtime after 8 hours. Not every 40 hours, but after 8 hours. Please, if you know of any other place that does this, add it to the comment section. If any place that meets the same type of pay criteria, please add it in the comment section so that other people can find it. But I have yet to see that. I know friends that work at FedEx. I got friends that work for UPS. I got friends that work for all the other shipping companies. I'm transportation. This is all I know. But all these other people that have done that, they're not making the same type of wage increases. They're not having the same type of wage increase. They're not having the same type of pay that's necessary to keep up with the cost of living due to inflation. It just Inflation just happens. Just part of who we are and how we live. We don't blame the presidents. We don't blame the senators. We just know that this is what's going to happen. The dollar, what a dollar could buy you 20 years ago, it can't buy you today. I used to be able to get a cup of coffee for $1.10. $2.05 now for 20-ounce coffee. It just happens. It just happens. Why do I say all of this? It's because a lot of people will continue to knock the post office and say how bad the work is, how bad the environment is, how bad this is, and how bad this is, and that, and so on and so forth. But I almost feel concerned for the younger generation, my future generation, because we all have this concept in our head where we need instant gratification. We feel as if we deserve to make buku loads of money. Well, this is one place that you can make buku loads of money, but you got to put the work in. Nothing in life comes without work unless you were gifted it. So I see some of the new people that come in, they say, hey, how come this mail handler assistant at my job, that guy make $100,000 a year, how come I can't make that? Well, you got to put your work in. Thank the unions, because you started off here, but you worked your way up. You have the opportunity to make more money eventually, but you gotta go through the grind. How come we gotta work 70 hours a week, 60 hours a week? Do you think that the people that have been there 10 years didn't have to do what you did? What makes them different than you? Minus the fact that they did it and figured it out. Why can't you do it and figure it out? Is it that you don't want to do it? Is it that you feel as if you don't have a social life and you feel as if you're going to miss something? Even if you have a social life, social lives cost money. A cell phone back in the day, back when they first had the touchscreen phones, was only $500. Lucky if you can find one for less than $1,500 now. Inflation. It may seem like I'm going everywhere with this conversation, but at the same time, the point is you need to figure out whether or not you are strong enough to, number one, make it and push through the BS to get to the other side. Because kudos to those that have done it. I've been having this channel a little over a year now, and a lot of people will chime back in and they always thank me, thank me, thank me. Don't thank me. Thank yourself for being strong enough to do it. 18-year-olds, 19, 20, they did it. So when the 25, 26, 27 years old complain about they can't, I implore everybody just to read some of the comments. I post quite a bit. Sometimes there's somebody will post something or say something, and it touches me, so I repost it. Don't knock them. Say, damn, I want that. You can have it if you really want it. Anybody that really wants it can have it. I've given you the tools necessary to make it through. For those that come in and say they didn't know, I simply say to you, why didn't you know? My channel is all about giving you the information to succeed. I read in a book once, this wise book, you can give a man a fish. Y'all know where I'm going with this, right? He can eat for a day. But if you teach a man to fish, fed him for a lifetime, right? Makes sense? I can easily tell you guys, hey, pay me $20, I'll take your assessments and then let you go on your way. You get the job and you fail. I get rich, y'all be broke because you quit, because you didn't know what you was in for. But I didn't do that. I took the time out to give you guys the information. The good, the bad, the ugly. All you gotta do is do your own homework so you know what you're in for before you step foot in the door. There's a video about that. Step, you know, food to win before you get in. Back to the economy, back to the money. People say, hey, screw this. I'm better off doing X, Y, Z. And I see videos of people that worked for the post office before, and they bash it, and then they work somewhere else, and they work somewhere else, and then they work somewhere else. And it's almost embarrassing because it's like, how does anybody follow that if you can't keep one job for longer than a year? But instead you posted that you've gone through 5 different jobs in less than a year, but expect somebody to take that seriously. Now that may be something that the younger generation or some people like. Don't knock me for saying the younger generation, because I know what my analytics say that watch me. And I call it the younger generation. I got a demographic between 24 and 36. But when you see the people that actually put the work in, the people that I interview, the people that have said, hey, it can be done. I don't interview a bunch of old people. No. I give you food from everybody, from every craft, to let you know a pregnant lady can do it. A young pregnant lady can do it. An older immigrant can do it. A younger immigrant can do it. White, black, yellow, green. Everybody can do it. All you got to do is want it. Money. Money, 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 money. When you pick that career and you say, screw this place, I'm gonna go work for Amazon instead. Amazon is interesting. A lot of people bash. I watched a couple of those people that worked at Amazon. They bashed the place. They said they feel like robots. Hell, you feel like robots here, but you're getting paid for it. But at least there are people around. Make sure you just make an educated decision before you guys go and say, hey, I cannot do this. Because if you are in this for the long haul and you want to take care of your family, you got kids you want to take care of, it may not work for some people, because some people just can't because of their situation at home. Family, you know, taking care of mother, taking care of kids, sick wife, whatever it is, sick husband. If you can't, it's understandable. But if you are physically capable of doing the job and just don't want to do it and feel like there's an easy way out, share with all of us what the easy way out is. Share with us, because I'm sure all of us want to know. But the moral of my story is, when you do pick a career, understand you have to think about, are they going to make money in 2 years, 3 years, 5 years? Some people don't think that far in advance. Are you wasting your energy at a dead-end job that offers no room for growth, whether it's financially or just career development? You know, you go from being a mail handler to, you know, a supervisor or a postmaster or whatever it is. Career development, financial development, that's key. Because there's people that are 26 years old right now. No, you know what? One young man that I gave information to last year, this guy brings home, what was it, no less than two grand a week. That's what he's accustomed to. And it's his first real job. And I thought he was older. I think he just hit 22, maybe 23. And his mindset is just, whoo, he's got that goal. And that's what he's gonna do. So this is not a history lesson. This is not an economic lesson. This is just a lesson in real life. as possible. If you've never worked for a union job, you don't really understand the ladder on how you work your way up, do some research. Do some of your own research. Don't be so gung-ho to say, man, I just want to put that uniform on and do it, and then be caught up, upset, because it didn't work out. Do the research. And when you get a chance, look and see how the pay scales work for every craft. And they're on your union websites. And the unions have negotiated these things so that you guys have a future. They think long term, 3 years. Okay, so we're gonna get a pay increase in April, a pay increase in November, we'll get a cost of living assessment and adjustment and such. They think about all of that. They put that in the contract to make sure people get paid. And when you turn career, they make sure that if you're working on a Sunday, that you're making 25% more on top of your hourly wage. Then make sure that if you work out of schedule, you get paid out of schedule pay. They make sure that you work on your days off, you get non-schedule, you get time and a half. You get double time after 10 hours. That's what I mean by, is your job going to fill what you need in order to survive? Is it? Because if you're just looking at the base salary of $16 or $17 an hour right now, you're saying, I go work and blah, 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 make $20 an hour. Well, they've been paying $20 an hour for the last 3 years. You'll make $20 an hour in a couple years here. You'll make more than $20 an hour if you work overtime, which is on a daily basis in most places. Look at the big picture. Don't have shallow tunnel vision. Remember, inflation comes regularly. The prices of everything do not go down. Rarely. Maybe gas once in a while. But the prices of everything continue to go up. And unless you're owning your home, your rent's going to go up as well. It's your job